I don't know about you, when I think about self-improvement, I always think of like the YouTubers and the podcasters giving all these like little tips and just small pieces of advice to just try to improve your life a little bit. And I would always go to them to just like find stuff to add to the habit tracker, you know, just find some daily habits to engage in that could improve my life little by little so I could be where I want to be in the future. Now, this is like completely anecdotal, and I would be really curious to see what people actually think about this, like what the common sentiment is on this. I genuinely think that, you know, self-improvement as we know it today is actually dying. Like this maximalist approach to self-improvement, you know, finding all these things to add and do. I don't think there's as much traction as there used to be a few years ago on self-improvement content and stuff like that. And I genuinely think that's a good thing, surprisingly. So I'm just gonna get to the point. The reason why I think self-improvement is dying is because, you know, all this advice that people give is good, but it's completely useless. So what's with the contradiction? How could this advice be good, but useless at the same time? And what advice am I talking about? So the type of advice I'm talking about is, you know, meditation, cold showers, journaling. So I'm basically talking about all the little niche things that people tell you about that, you know, everyone tells you is super helpful. And the thing is, it's not exactly untrue to say it's helpful. I mean, you can't objectively say that like something like meditation is bad for you. Like we all know it's a good habit, but that's where you fall into this trap where you just constantly start adding this type of stuff into your schedule without even like questioning it, you know? So the problem is when we include something like meditating into our daily routine, we only think about it one-dimensionally. You know, we're focused on the immediate benefit, which is like, okay, I'm gonna be more mindful if I meditate. I'm gonna have a better attention span. So let's add it. Let's do this every single day. And the problem with that is that you have to realize that everything you do has a secondary effect on other things. So although it's hard to like forego these benefits, I want to explain why I think it's worth it to not add this to your schedule, even though it sounds so good. So that brings me to the most important part of this video. And that is this like theoretical burnout meter that everybody has. It's kind of self-explanatory. Everyone has a burnout meter, and everything you include in your schedule fills up this meter just a little bit. And when you reach the top, of course, you burn out. Everything just kind of goes to shambles. You know, you have to rebuild everything that you did. You have to gain the consistency back. You have to gain the habits back. It's just miserable. And we want to avoid that as much as possible, right? But a lot of us, you know, find ourselves burning out in 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. That was me. Constantly. I was always burning out, and I just thought that was like inevitable. I thought that, you know what, no matter what I do, I'm gonna burn out every month or two, and I just have to try to get right back into my schedule as fast as possible. I finally realized after several years of experimenting with productivity improvement that it doesn't have to be like this. Just collecting data in my head, like, okay, this is what I did when I was super productive. This is what I did when I was super burnt out. So what is it? What's the common aspect that keeps getting me to burnout? I realize it's just these little things that I keep adding to my schedule. It's when I try to maximize everything and I try to fill it in as much as possible. Even, honestly, not even as much as possible. If I try to like put in just a few extra things, it's like my burnout comes constantly. Honestly, this is the main reason I wanted to make this video. You need to realize that burnout management and consistency are the most crucial parts to actually improving something, to actually getting towards the goals you want to achieve, right? And anything that aids burnout more than it benefits you is absolutely not worth it. Throw it in the garbage. It's complete trash. Do not add anything. Try to add as little as possible. Stick to the absolute bare essentials that you need to do. Stick to the important stuff. So what do I mean by this? Like all those habits I mentioned before, I used to do them all the time. You know, I did them every single day. I had them on my habit tracker. I would do them even when I didn't want to because I've been told, you know, like this stuff is so beneficial, and I actually did find it beneficial. I did feel better when I did them, and that's why I stuck to it. But the thing is that these things are 1% hitters. These small habits will improve my life just a little bit, but they disproportionately fill that burnout meter too much. Like if I, you know, taking cold showers every day, it's something I used to always do. It's probably one of my most consistent habits. If that improves my life by 1%, it feels like it fills the burnout meter by like 5 to 10% or something like that. It's absolutely not worth it. You do not want a ratio like that. And I think that's pretty obvious. Like, so with all these little habits I put on there, like it could have added like 10 to 20% to that burnout meter, which is just horrible. I would burn out more often. I would burn out for longer. It was trash. And it took me so long to realize that, because I just thought I could do it all. And I thought that like I had to do that. I was convinced that this is something I have to do, or like I'm going to be falling behind. But that's absolutely not true. So what was I doing when I was hyper productive? The exact opposite. I was doing only the bare essentials. When I only focused on the few goals that actually mattered to me and nothing else that was unrelated, I was much more productive. And most importantly, I didn't burn out nearly as much. Like I was consistent for much longer. And we want the gap between burnouts to be as big as possible. I mean, in a perfect world, we don't want to burn out at all. And that's why I think self-improvement, as we once knew, like a few years ago, it was like kind of popping off. That's why I think it's kind of dying, because it was mostly like this maximalist approach, and people are starting to realize that really all that matters is the essentials. So what do I do nowadays? What have I found to be the most effective at actually improving? And literally all I focus on is waking up early, doing a few hours of work, and getting to the gym every day. That is absolutely it. Nothing else. Like actually nothing else. I now have this like minimalist approach to my schedule instead of this maximalist, like add as much shit to your schedule as physically possible kind of narrative that thrived back when self-improvement content was like at its peak, in my opinion. I just want to add that like I learned like some business advice a long time ago that I like always think back on and kind of like apply to other things, and this is one of them. The advice was something about like saying no to as much as possible, you know, like opportunities or invites and stuff like that. Definitely applicable here. Say no to adding bulk and like shit to your schedule, even though it's good. Who cares? Like, it's just not worth it. Just do the essentials. Do what you already know you're supposed to be doing. Just put time into it and just be consistent with it, and don't add anything else, and you will be fine. And guess what? Since understanding this and applying this, I have never had better grades in my life. This is the first semester, like this spring semester, I actually got straight A's. I've been close to straight A's a few times, but never actually achieved it. I finally did, I locked in. I've never made better music in my life. That's one of the things I really focus on is music production. It's been absolutely incredible. And of course, like with the gym, I've never been more consistent and made more gains in my life. Like I'm actually showing up every day and like doing the whole workout. I'm not quitting early or like not going. It just goes to show you that like less is more. The key was to get rid of more things this whole time instead of adding things, which is something that took me years to understand. It's kind of counterintuitive because, I'm saying all this stuff, but here I am making a video, even though I'm not like trying to be a YouTuber. But I think sometimes I kind of come upon like a big realization that I think is worth sharing. And this is one of those things that I think is worth sharing, even though like it takes a little bit of discipline and time out of my schedule. I think I really want to help other people with this kind of thing. And so just find out what you care about, dedicate time to those things every single day, and never let anything compromise those. Don't let anything get in the way. Don't put any bullshit in your schedule. Just stick to the plan and you will improve, guaranteed. Get rid of all the noise, please. Please just hear this and listen to me, please. Don't be stuck for like 5 years like me, not understanding this and just trying over and over again to add as much shit in my schedule and burning out, okay? I always just tell myself, no matter how shitty my day is, as long as I do those few essential things, everything will be okay. Everything will start moving forward and I will get to where I want to be. I've already made so much progress. I'm going to keep going. I'm going to keep reminding myself not to add a bunch of crap, and I hope you do too. All right, later.